Excited to be here today with Grub Life. The two of us came together because of an unfortunate event, him being involved in a car crash. But through the process, I've been excited to get to know him and to have him here today to talk about his love for food and community.
What up, best friends? It's Grub Life Quick Bites. I'm over here at Turning Points with Isaiah, my dude. Like he said, we met because of this accident I got into, but I didn't know I was going to have a legal team and meet a friend at the same time. So let's talk about food, yo. Let's go.
Dude, I want to know Marvin. Like that,
Oh, man.
that's what I want to know.
Man, Marvin.
And you had quite an interesting career because you didn't start out as a critic.
No, I don't even think I'm a critic now. Like,
You're just
I
a
don't think
food
I'm a critic
fan
now.
or what?
I'm a guy that eats. I eat good food. I don't want to eat whack stuff.
And there's a lot of good stuff here in Vegas.
A lot of good stuff here in Vegas. And that's how we got tied into each other, right? Because that night when I got into my first accident, I was on the way to meet up with a couple of my friends to go eat at this place called Village Pub. Like, I guess it's big on like prime rib and 24-hour fish and chips.
Kind of local spot. They're all over the place.
Yeah, they're like 10 or 12 of them in Vegas. And on my way there, I crashed on Tropicana. And then
No way, I can't believe it. Your very first crash.
My first accident with another vehicle. Yeah.
That is insane because
after 40 years,
yeah, the statistics are living in Vegas, like you're gonna have a crash like every 7 years.
Right.
And you've lived a long time in LA, moved out to Vegas. How long were you in Vegas before you got your first crash?
Man. Like 4 months. During my 4th month here. I had just got back from LA. My mom passed away in November and we buried her in January because the whole COVID thing. And when I got here, I was still a little depressed. But all I have is my car because I love my car and I love coming home and I love being in my car. Like I stream, for a living and I'm always in my car. I always stream from my car for where I'm eating at. And then this lady runs a red and she takes that big part of me away from me.
And the cars, what kind of cars you like? You like classic cars, kind of the newer cars?
I love old school Lexuses, like big body 4-door Lexuses. Like
something big, like almost like a bit of a boat or?
Yeah, I love boat cars, like GS 300s. I'm on my 3rd one. I had an LS 400, LS 430. Like I love old school, like Japanese Yakuza style Lexuses.
Yeah.
I think they just look cool when you walk out of the car and your shoes, when first thing people see is your shoes coming out of a Lexus, like, ooh, that looks cool.
Yeah. And then your hat.
And my hat, you always gotta have the LA hat.
Yeah.
But yeah, she crashed into me on my way to go eat,
and that's
how I met you.
And I would think, right, coming from LA, big city, a lot of traffic, a lot of cars, like your likelihood of getting in a crash in Los Angeles would be much higher than coming to Vegas and getting in a crash.
Oh yeah, until I saw how people drove here. Like for the first time I saw people doing like illegal left turns or U-turns at a red light or running red lights in front of police officers. I was like, this is crazy. Like being from LA, it was weird getting offended.
And the police officers, they're just so busy. They're not gonna take the time to pull someone over. Maybe they're on their way to a worst call, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So you're in a crash, and that's how we met.
Yeah, I was scrolling online. I mean, I didn't want to. No offense to any of like the other like legal teams here in Vegas, but I see all their ads on the freeway and stuff. I'm just like, I don't want to talk to that guy. He's probably not personable, So I looked up for something local, for something within like Vegas, Henderson, East Vegas, and then your name came up, and I was like, let me do some research real quick, and yeah, I checked you out. A lot of people had a bunch of cool reviews about you. Like I didn't see anything negative about you, and the fact that you speak to people personally, I thought that was cool. Like you're the face of the company, the name of the company, and you talk to them personally. So I'm like, yeah, let me give it a try. And then when I called you, like you called me back directly, and I was like, dude, like send me the paperwork. I spoke to your other your teammate, and then they sent me the paperwork. I'm like, I'm gonna sign it, dude. Like you don't get that kind of personal attention like from anyone else, So.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. And that's, my friend, I have a buddy that drives down the freeway, taking pictures of the billboards, and he'll send it to me like, hey, should I really hire this guy? Like, just joking. Like, how do you decide you're going to hire someone by just looking at the billboard?
Right.
And again, not to knock them, right? I mean, it's a business structure. But yeah, I take what I do and the people that I represent very personal. And I think you do the same thing with your food, right?
Yeah, with my food, it's like I go out and I eat. People, restaurants will call me and say, hey, or they'll message me like, send me your costs, like send me your price sheet, whatever. And sometimes if they're a corporation, I'll be like, yeah, it'll cost this, blah, 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 blah. Or if it's a mom and pops, a startup, yeah, I'll just do it for free. Feed me, So I'll go out and eat, but I'll tell them straight up, like, if I don't like it, I'm not going to post it. Or I might post it if I don't like it and say, hey, it's okay, but it's not my favorite.
And I love your response when you like the food. Like, it's just so original and so authentic.
I usually like the food, like, because it's food, right? Like,
yeah.
Like I grew up very poor, where I wasn't able to choose what I was going to eat when I was younger. I come from, like we talked about before. I come from that household where whatever mom cooks is what you eat, and if you don't eat, you die.
A single mom.
Single mom. Yeah.
And how many jobs did she work when raising you?
Man, my mom, she was never home. Like maybe like two. She was working like two jobs, and then when her body couldn't take it anymore, she went on government assistance. But then still worked, but then she got remarried to one of like the sweetest guys in the world. Like this guy is like my stepdad has been more, he raised me more. There's more time of him raising me as a stepfather than my actual father, so.
Yeah. Was your actual father, was he around much when you were younger
or? He was there for the first few years after the divorce, but then they moved to Texas. He had another family.
Okay.
But I don't discount that. Like, I love them. They're still my family. She's still my stepmom, and those are my stepbrother and sister. Like, we're not going to let that get in the way of us being a family. We still appreciate each other and take care of each other.
Yeah, so your mom, single mom for a long time, working two jobs, trying to support you, and you stayed out of trouble, right? I mean, you kept your head straight and narrow?
Not really. I mean, my mom, she instilled the morals that of her upbringing into me and into my sister and myself. But then, of course, I'm from LA, in an urban part of LA. I'm gonna join a gang, it's like I'm gonna get in trouble. My mom's not home. We're latchkey kids, right? Mom's gonna be home at midnight, so we have till midnight to hang out.
Oh no.
Yeah, so finish all your homework and then just go out and do whatever you got to do. And it was bad.
Yeah, but so wait, what pulled you back into a direction and like, okay, let's focus, let's drive and have some success in this life?
I got injured a few times. I'm not gonna say how. And it was weird because in high school, like in junior high, well, mind you, I was already a gang member by this time. 12 years old, 13 years old. Like this guy comes up to me and says, "Hey, you want to play an instrument for an elective?" I'm like, "Sure." So I learned how to play trumpet. And then when I got to high school, this new teacher comes in and says, "Hey, I have this new music program. I want you to join." I'm like, "No." And he goes, "Well, I'm gonna fail you if you don't. Like, we're not gonna allow you to transfer out." So he got me into his program. Ended up being every member in that band, like the first marching band in the school, was a gang member. Like, they were all gang members or brothers and sisters of drug dealers. They were all like the school rejects. And then we're all in the same group now. And this one man, and of course, his wife was working there as well, was able to pull us out of it. And he was able to show us that there was a different life. Like, we didn't have to be that way. And because of that, little by little, I wasn't hanging out with my boys anymore. And I was hanging out with band members who happened to be from gangs too, but they were, not hanging out with their friends anymore. And they were all hanging out together. And it was a weird vibe. Like this one man was responsible for doing that for all of us.
That is amazing, though, that you have one guy or another guy that kind of introduced you to it a little bit at a younger age. But these teachers that are there in your life at pivotal moments to kind of put you in a position where you can make a change, you can look forward.
Right.
That's amazing, man. Yeah, it's like, for me, like right now, I'm worried because I look at the teachers and so much violence in school and the amount of disrespect that they get. Like, was that the same when you were growing up? Did you disrespect your teachers like that? Or, I mean, you see videos of students attacking kids or students attacking teachers now.
So how do you feel about that? Like these teenagers just lack respect. Like, where do you think that's coming from?
Yeah, it's got to come from the home, and I think maybe a large part of as well is technology, right? They're just staring at a screen, and then it just affects their mindset.
And the parents that believe that teachers should be doing the parenting. Like, how do you
Yeah.
feel about these parents? Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's the complete opposite, right? I would hate for my kids to go to school and
mm,
learn values because of so much that's being taught in schools right now, right?
mm,
I mean, it's just it's important for the kids to be open and to see different perspectives and to look at how other people live. But as far as those core set of values, it's got to be taught in the home, at least from my perspective, right? The family's got to institute whatever values they have in the kids, and if they don't, I think you start to see this, right? You start to see these kids just attacking the teachers, not only verbally but physically.
right. See, that's awesome. Look, see this guy. Man,
Oh,
he
come
has
on, yeah.
old school values, family values, and man, this is
But
why I mess with you, man. This is why I trust you so much, bro. Like,
so your family comes from the Philippines, right?
yeah, my
And
family's
so
Philippines. Yeah.
growing up, did you speak Tagalog?
I didn't. I,
Yeah.
I understood Tagalog till I was like 8 or 9, and then once you start getting heavy into school, you know, your mom starts speaking to you in English, and she wants you to bring English home so you can teach her English. So the
Mm.
house becomes English, right? I picked up more Spanish than I did Tagalog because all my
Oh,
homies were Hispanic, you know.
yeah.
Like being
Uh,
in that urban setting, like you hear the lingo, not necessarily like Spanish, but like Chicano Spanish, you know,
yeah, just a
like
bunch of slang, but
slang, yeah.
yeah.
So like I lost it. I lost it. You know, I had to watch like
Mm.
Filipino movies and stuff and watch and read subtitles to try to kind of bring everything back. But I did end up learning Tagalog later, like in the past 4 years, like through an app called Kumu where I do live streaming. Like 90% Filipino natives.
Mm.
So I went in there feeling like I was being judged. Well, people were coming into my stream humbling themselves, saying, "I'm sorry, sir, I don't speak that well of English. So I'm sorry if my nose starts bleeding," which is like it's a joke for them, right? But they're still trying to look
Mm.
down on themselves because the class division in the Philippines is divided by whether you know English or not, or how well you speak English.
Really?
Yeah, so people judge each other from their English speaking.
See, in the Tagalog that I hear people speaking here in Las Vegas, it's like I listen to it, it's a mix of like Spanish words and
Mm,
then English and then a lot of what I presume would be kind of a different dialect that
mm.
came directly from the island.
Right. I think the Filipino that we hear here is not even Tagalog anymore. They consider it Filipino now because it's so mixed, especially in Vegas with all the Hawaiian
Mm.
settle like the Hawaiians that come here. Like we have a mixture of like Hawaiian pidgin, Tagalog from the Philippines, Ilocano from the Philippines, and Visayas from the Philippines. And then the English words that we don't have in Tagalog, they remake them so it sounds Tagalog, but it's actually
Mm.
English. And then there's the Spanish words, and then the Malaysian, like Austronesian words, like Indonesian, Malaysian words, and Singaporean words that came from the original settlements in the Philippines. So what you'll probably hear is
Mm.
like if they're gonna say something like I want to eat spaghetti, you're gonna hear the Tagalog words like, or you're gonna hear the Spanish word gusto, right? So
Right.
gusto ko means I want, gusto ko kainin or kakainin, meaning I want to eat, and then you'll get that weird English sounding or the Filipino sounding English word, spaghetti, because there's no Filipino word for it. So you'll hear that
Mm.
Spanish, the Austronesian, and then the English word all in one sentence. That's still a Filipino rooted sentence. So it's mad weird. Like it's
Yeah, that is an amazing language to see the way it's developed. And, Spanish comes because of Spain.
right.
They came in there, they colonized
Yeah.
the Philippines, and to see that it's really been embedded in their culture and in their language.
Mm.
And even nowadays, they say that a lot of the language in English, the way it develops, is from girls in eighth grade,
Oh,
right?
really?
Yeah, that these girls are, they're communicating with one another, finding different ways to come up, with a way to express themselves, and it affects our language down the road, right? These
Oh
these
man.
eighth grade girls.
Good luck
Yeah,
to us.
I know,
Good
man.
luck
What are
to
they
us,
saying
man.
now? Yeah.
I don't understand half the things these kids say these days. Like, do you get any of this terminology? Like,
I don't,
yeah,
right? And
yeah.
and it's with our kids, we read so much, right? Like
Mm,
that I don't hear it much at home with my kids.
mm,
And I think that probably because we're always in the books, right? We're always reading.
right.
So from the time that they can stand up and look, like we're in the books, and then
Mm,
even now with my daughter that's 17 years old, like we still read books together.
Okay, good.
So we don't hear the language. I'm sure when they're with their friends though that they're saying
Right.
Yeah.
Talking gibberish.
Yeah, talking gibberish. Yeah. So now being a food critic, have you been able? And I know you don't recognize yourself as a food critic. I guess as a foodie. Is that a better term?
I just eat. Like I think we all like to eat good food. I just happen to have a camera with me, and people just they like watching it. Like they like watching me eat for some reason.
And so you got your start just in Yelp, right?
Yeah.
And then kind of shifted over into social media.
Yeah, I was on Yelp. Well, yeah, I was on Yelp way before Instagram because Instagram wasn't out yet. I was posting just pictures before on Instagram when it first came out of like, this is what I ate, this is where I got it from. And it was good. Because people were calling me all the time. Like people would come into LA and be like, hey, I'm going to eat here. Let's go get Chinese food. I'm like, all right. And I would take them to like the deepest. I would tell people all the time, if you're not willing to die where you're eating at, it's probably not good.
Oh no!
I mean, because
you're talking about the streets around it, or not necessarily the food.
Not the food, but like because you could be eating the best meal of your life, and you know, it just happens. Like that's just the way we grew up eating food around the corner. You know, just like for like right now, in today's times. Taco stands are a big thing, right? It's finally coming to Vegas.
Yeah.
The first day I got here, September 21st, 2023, people told me that was the first time people were doing taco stands on the street. Like the day we got here, I'm like, oh, I brought tacos with me from LA, you know? But back then, that's so normal to us. I've been eating that my whole life, you know? And then it gets shot up all the time. Like no matter where you are, we'll be in South Central, we'll be eating tacos. Fools get shot across the street. You're like, oh damn, that's crazy. Someone call the cops.
And you're still eating your taco.
And then it was just normal to us. Where and the food was worth it. You don't think about it. Oh, if I go back there, am I gonna get shot? Like, is someone gonna try to rob me? It's like, no, let's go get where the good food is. You know, it's like if you're not willing to die for the things you're eating, maybe you shouldn't be eating there. I mean,
you do love food if you're willing to get to that point. Yeah, that's great.
I mean, who doesn't? I mean, if story-wise, I mean, biblical-wise, Last Supper was pretty hard to get to, and it was hard to leave. You know, like that was one of the most hardest dinners you could ever go to or leave from, you know?
Yeah, and even going back further, right? I mean, they were selling their birthright for food, right?
For food.
Yeah.
And there was so many like times in the Bible, depending on which Bible you're into, where people were, you know, they had to group up as a community, and they had to share everything. And there was a couple that was hiding food, and they were judged, and then, you know, God struck them down because they were not sharing their food. I mean, food is important. Food is very important, but us now in today's age, since it's so accessible and it's cheap for us, we treat it like it's nothing. But there's there has to be a small group of people that still think that every bite's important, you know, and people want to see it, and they want to see your face. And there's people that watch like skinny girls eat whole meals, and that's like their thing, and they pay them, you know, like viewers pay them hundreds of dollars to watch them eat a big old bowl of soup.
Man.
Yeah.
So your love of food is taking you back to the Philippines, right?
Yeah, it was crazy. It took me back there.
And you've gone back to be able to immerse yourself back in the culture where your mom came from, right?
Yeah, because after I learned Tagalog, learning Tagalog for the past 4 or 5 years, when my mom was still alive, one day I surprised her, and I started speaking in Tagalog, and after like a minute, she was all like, "Why are you speaking Tagalog?" I'm like, "Oh, by the way, I learned on Kumu," and then she started crying because she's never heard me talk Tagalog before. She's always wanted me to learn Tagalog or know Tagalog, but now that I finally got it, I was able to converse with her. And it brought her so much joy, and she would laugh at me, and she would cry, and then that was cool for 2 years until she passed away. And then when her sister passed away in July, I took an emergency flight to the Philippines, not knowing how I would react to like hearing nothing but Tagalog and English, you know, because here in America, growing up where I grew up, you wake up in the morning, you're hearing like Carolitas, like music on the outside, you know, you hear rap music, you don't hear Filipinos talking, you know. Now I got to immerse myself in their daily life, eat their food, you know, like they got these stores called carinderias where where these businesses are in front of someone's house, where they open up the front of the house and they feed you what they eat, and then you pay for it. So people are opening up their homes for you to eat their food.
Home cooked meal just right down the street. You just
Yeah,
go to your
like,
neighbor's house and pay a few
exactly.
bucks and get it.
You pay you pay $1.50 and get a whole meal.
And going back to your concept, right? Like, hey, like food means something. Like bringing community together. Like you're just going to your neighbor's garage and just getting the food.
Like how more personal can food get, right? Like I know America or the westernized all the Western countries are very big on this is my food, don't touch my food. This is my plate, my spoon, my fork, my knife. Don't go near my food. That's a big thing with Western culture.
Yeah, my kids learn at a young age, right? They know like this is their plate. Don't take my food off my plate. Yeah.
But I come from like a people where I could be eating and someone will come by and be like, "Hey, let me taste that," and it's fine, because it's everything's family. Like everything's family sizes, family sections. Even your own personal food is a part of the family's food. If there's just not enough and they're still hungry, you take spoons of your rice and you throw it on their plate, and it's very it's very communal, and that's the type of thing I don't feel when I'm in America when it comes to eating. But my group though, my group that's so small, we'll munch on burgers and feed it to each other. It's like, yo, you gotta bite this. And it's crazy how like we learned to adapt, right? So this is our new lifestyle here, and we're learning how to live how our village back then.
That's pretty cool that you can bring your culture back here and enjoy the food like it should be enjoyed, I guess is the way you see it. Yeah. So where do you see yourself going in the future with the social media and with being in love with food?
Wherever the food takes me. I mean, it took me here. It took me to Vegas. This wasn't planned.
Yeah, I mean, Vegas has a ton of food spots, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you can go down to the Strip and there's so many nice restaurants, or off Strip, you can find some good stuff as well.
I think off Strip is amazing.
It's probably even better off Strip.
Yeah, off Strip is just like it's crazy out here. Like Vegas food is crazy. Like I didn't think I'd be impressed. I mean, I finished all of LA, and now I'm working. I did the whole international food thing. Went to Paris, like Canada, Istanbul, Italy. I was going around eating, finding where's the best place I could eat at on the planet. Right, number one so far is actually Istanbul. Istanbul has the best food I've ever had in my life. Yeah, besides the Philippines, because I'm Filipino.
So in Istanbul, how do they look at food as far as like being communal or individual? Or
it's completely communal there. Like everyone eats off each other's plates. And then if a cat comes by, you have to feed the cat. Cats don't have homes there. Huh. The cats don't have homes in Turkey. Like they all live in the street and everyone takes turns feeding them. And it's a thing they just have to do. And I think that if you could treat an animal that way, you should be able to treat a human that way, right? So I think it teaches you to share, like immediately from a kitty cat to the next person who's hungry. I didn't see one hungry person there. And this is a country that was like, they have Syrian refugees coming into the country like daily, walking 3 days just to get there. That's the guilt that I felt when someone told me that. We were about to go eat, and the guy asked me, "Oh, how long did it take you to get here?" I'm like, "Man, I was complaining. I was on the tarmac for like 2 hours, and the flight was like 3 hours from Rome. It took forever." And I'm like, "How long did it take you to get here?" He's like, "Oh, we walked for 72 hours." And I was like, "Oh, okay, yeah, you
just walking
they
straight."
just walked, yeah. I'm like, humble pie, dude. I can't talk anymore, dude.
Yeah.
But the food out there is great. Everything's charred.
Istanbul, huh?
Istanbul's amazing, man.
So how did you decide between Istanbul and Vegas?
Vegas was just on a whim, like I was talking to a couple of friends about where I was gonna move next, and then they're like, "You like buffets, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." And well, Vegas is just right there, and if you ever want to come home, it's a 3.5 hour drive, So I said I'm gonna pack up and just leave. And the next month I left. And
no state taxes.
I didn't find out till I was here.
Oh, that was good. Yeah. Good news, right?
Yeah. When I got here, I was like, "All right, cool. There's no state taxes, and you can smoke everywhere, and it's wild, man. Vegas is nuts."
And buffets, like I just can't go near those buffets. Like I know it's like a good option, right? You go there, there's a smorgasbord, all kinds of food, but I just can't do it. I can't do the buffets.
So why don't you like buffets?
So I'd rather have the food be more fresh.
Oh,
And
okay.
oftentimes with the buffets, right, they'll just have it go sit there. Like I'd rather go to a place that has family style, right? You can order and order as much as you want.
So for you, it's the
I'd rather-
freshness.
Yeah, it's got to. Yeah, the food's got to be fresh. Like
Right on.
yeah,
Yeah, I don't like
So-
buffets because it all tastes the same. You have like 20 different meals, but they're all using the same ingredients. So it all like their Spanish rice tastes like Chinese rice. And
yeah,
it doesn't work for me.
yeah. So Vegas is gonna be the spot then. You're gonna stick here.
I think so. I mean, people are genuinely nicer here, minus the drivers. But in case you do get into an accident or anything, you already know who to call, man. Because I don't trust a lot of people. And I haven't felt this comfortable talking to a legal team than I have with you. Because, like I said, it's very personable, and there's you can bleep this out if you want. No, there's no bullshit. Like you guys talk to me straight, and I appreciate that. And because of that, like I found a bunch of cool food spots around your office, man. Like
there you go. What's the best spot around the office?
For Matikis.
Matikis. I don't
Tell
think
me
I've
you guys
heard
ever
of
heard of
Matikis.
Matikis, man. Matikis is like, it came from Southern California. It's like Hawaiian Samoan barbecue. And you guys have one. I used to drive 2 hours to get there in LA just to eat what's 2 minutes away from you now. Like, I would eat there every day if it wasn't so fatty.
Wait, this is kind of like out of the norm because I would think someone who loves food so much would probably stay away from a chain location, but
they're a family-owned chain.
Okay.
Super family-owned. There's only like 5 restaurants. Like I think 4. Well, no, there's 6 now. 4 in SoCal and 2 here in Vegas.
So they can control the quality.
Yeah. Their family recipe for their barbecue sauce is just like it's Samoan barbecue is crazy. Samoan and Hawaiians eat crazy. Like I love it, but I can't eat it every day. I'll die. I'll die tomorrow if I eat that every day. But it's right here. It's like a block away, and it's awesome. And you guys have like, well, no, he's not there anymore. He moved across the street. You have Lachinos over here too.
Yeah, see, I haven't even tried any of these spots.
Oh man, like these spots are like.
See, but it's probably error on my part because I look at food more as energy instead of like being. So I'm looking at, I can eat 2 cups of white rice. I'm gonna have the energy that I need.
Oh man, you carb load, huh?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
Well, if you want rice, go to Matikis, man. That's right a spot. Yeah.
And some barbecue. What's their best dish over there?
I get the beef ribs. I think everyone should get the beef ribs there. If you don't get the beef ribs there, you're crazy. You got to go to Matikis and get the beef ribs.
All right, it's on the calendar. Yeah.
I'll buy it for you if you want. If you want to try.
Okay,
I mean, it's nutritious.
Yeah.
Kind of.
Yeah. No. Yeah. I have a lunch date with my daughter on Friday, so I'm gonna take her there. So.
Hopefully, she likes it.
Yeah. Yeah. Appreciate the recommendation, and thank you so much for trusting us, right? Because we know that you have a lot of options when you hire an attorney, and it means a lot that you chose to work with us.
There's a million attorneys here. And honestly, if anything were to ever happen to me again, because of my experience with you guys, I would definitely come back. For any legal advice, I'd come to you. Like I said, coming from Hollywood, right? Hollywood, LA, where everyone's a lawyer, everyone knows a lawyer, everyone knows some type of like legal representation, everyone knows like who to talk to when something happens. You develop not necessarily a hatred for them, but like you get disgusted by legal talk, because everyone sues everyone, right? But like here, I felt like when I was speaking to you and your staff, it was more of this is what happened. This is what's actually going to happen. We don't need any extra fluff. Like the extra fluff is just going to go out the door. If we try to do that, it's going to take 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. This is what needs to be done because this is what's right? So I would rather deal with people who know what's right and will do what's right versus, get extra of anything else that's not right. It wouldn't sit right. It wouldn't sit well with me if I would have went that option.
I included it in my retainer, right? Like I always believe the truth is going to win out. Like it's going to win out regardless of what we say or what we do. And we just got to always tell the truth. We focus on the truth. Then everything's going to go right.
Yeah. Come talk to the truth himself. He's right here.
Cool.
And this is not I'm not paid to be here. This isn't paid promotion.
I know you're offering to buy me lunch. So.
I'm a customer. I'm a customer of this. So like I'm a client. But everything felt right. The timing with you guys, response time was cool. Like, and then of course, the actual responses, you guys weren't bullshitting, and I totally appreciate that. Yeah. And now I'm on your podcast.
All right, so Marvin, we'll end with this question because I always want to know the best spot to eat. And so you're in Las Vegas. Where are the top 3 places to eat?
Man. Well, we already talked about Matikis. That would have to be like my number 3 spot. My number 2 spot is right up the street on Tropicana. It's called Bordeaux's. It's Caribbean cuisine. You have to get the oxtail. She makes it in a tomato stew, and that is like deadly good. Like that hurts the heart too, right? So number 3 is Matiki's. Number 2 is Bordeaux's. My number 1 spot, and a lot of people can challenge us if they want because there's so much Hawaiian stuff here. It's called Generations Kitchen or Generations LV over there on the southwest side. They got this like ahi tuna katsu that is just it'll break your face. That's how good it is. Or their local moco is just as amazing. So if you like Hawaiian, man, these are all rice dishes, huh?
That's good. Rice is good. It's a good staple.
I'm Filipino, man. These are all like my favorite rice dishes in Las Vegas.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more.